Thanks for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. The gunman who killed 26 people at a small-town Texas church sent threatening text messages to his mother-in-law before the attack. And that is not all. Our national security correspondent Eric Rosales uncovered new details about the shooter and a major mishap by the Air Force, now tied into the case.
Authorities have yet to release a specific motive on why Devin Kelley committed the deadliest mass shooting in Texas history. But police say it was neither racially nor religiously motivated. Just as CBN News previously reported, investigators say it was a domestic situation. He was on the hunt for his mother-in-law.
I can tell you that the scene in there is horrific, is not even a word to describe it.
After watching a video of the massacre inside this church, law enforcement officials say without a doubt the shooter intended to kill as many people as possible.
There are many ways that he could have taken care of the mother-in-law without coming with 15 loaded magazines and an assault rifle to a church. I think he came here with a purpose and a mission.
Police say after he got inside, the 26-year-old murdered his way to the front of the tiny church. Hundreds of empty shell casings were found. He killed 26 people, ranging in age from 18 months to 77 years old. 14 children in all, including the pastor and his wife's 14-year-old daughter, who attended the service while her parents were out of town.
Stand up for Jesus.
Once outside, police say Kelley was confronted by two men.
I just wish I could have gotten there faster. I'm no hero. I am not.
Stephen Williford, the man who officials say stepped in to stop Kelley firing shots that hit him and then with another neighbor chased Kelley for miles, is now being credited for helping to put an end to the massacre.
And every time I heard a shot, I knew that probably represented a life. I was scared to death.
An autopsy reveals Kelley was hit twice by Williford. A third wound was self-inflicted to the head. Police say as Kelley tried to get away, he used his cell phone and notified his father that he had been shot and didn't think he would make it. CBN News has uncovered the 26-year-old shooter was discharged from the Air Force in 2014 after serving a one-year sentence for assaulting his first wife and his 11-month-old stepson. Military records show that he hit the child in the head with enough force to produce death or bodily harm. In theory, the domestic abuse charges should have barred him from buying guns. Now the U.S. Air Force admitted it failed to pass along the information that would have prevented Kelley from obtaining the murder weapon. Eric Rosales, CBN News.
Eric, thank you. Despite the horror of the tragic massacre in Texas, survivors are finding God in the midst of the darkness. Our Dale Hurd is on that part of the story.
We've had a long night with our children and grandbabies we have left.
For Pastor Frank Pomeroy and wife Sherry, it was hard to talk without crying. Their church shattered by senseless violence, friends and family members gone, their 14-year-old daughter Annabelle among the dead.
As senseless as this tragedy was, our sweet Belle would not have been able to deal with losing so much family yesterday. Belle was surrounded yesterday by her church family that she loved fiercely.
Other victims included Joanne Ward, who died as she used her body to shield her 4 young children. 2 of her children died, ages 5 and 7. Another is in critical condition. And 8 members of the Holcomb family, 3 generations, including Associate Pastor Brian Holcomb, who was serving as guest pastor on Sunday, and his wife Crystal, who was 8 months pregnant, and 3 of their children. But despite this terrible tragedy, people in the small town are standing firm in their faith. Before the country and the national media, the church and its pastor are lifting up the name of Jesus, even as they know their friends and family are in heaven.
We were a very close family. We ate together, we laughed together, we cried together, and we worshiped together. Now most of our church family is gone.
Pastor Dimas Salaberios has been ministering to the church and its pastor.
This was a church that glorified Jesus. This was a church of prayer. This is a church that's uniting around their pastor as the great example right now of a true shepherd.
Pastor Pomeroy was not in the church Sunday, but his sermon the week before the tragedy was that even if things happen you don't understand, you still need to do what God is calling you to do, and to trust the Lord with all your heart, no matter what.
We serve a God that's in a miracle-working business, guys. He can heal, He can bring forth all kinds of incredible fruit. The thing is, trust Him and not your own understanding.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
President Trump called on North Korea to negotiate its way out of a confrontation over its nuclear weapons program. Speaking in Seoul, South Korea, the president said a deal would be good for North Korea and the world. The conciliatory language is a change from the fiery rhetoric he's used with North Korea in the past. The president repeated his threat. The U.S. will use military force against the rogue regime if necessary. But he said he sees a lot of progress in his dealings with the North, and he urged the leader, Kim Jong-un, to come to the table and make a deal. Sonia Carson, the mother of Dr. Ben Carson, has died. Dr. Carson and his wife Candy announced his mother's death on their Facebook page. While campaigning for the 2016 Republican presidential nomination, Carson often quoted stories about his mother's work ethic. He wrote this tribute. Although she came from an impoverished background with little formal education, she somehow understood how success was achieved in our society. She absolutely refused to be a victim. He also credits his mother's example for his own faith in God. Still ahead, here on CBN Newswatch, we have an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at what a secret Israeli Defense Force mission is all about. Meet the men and women who risk their own lives to save the lives of others in Syria. CBN News has an exclusive inside look at what has been a secret mission by the Israeli Defense Forces. As Chris Mitchell reports, it's a one-of-a-kind Middle East story that combines the IDF, a Christian ministry, and the brutality of the Syrian civil war.
The story begins here on the Golan Heights in the dead of night. Israeli soldiers inside Syria providing hope in the form of life-saving medical supplies for Syrians caught in a long and bloody civil war. Their partner? A Christian aid group called Frontier Alliance International, or FAI.
We support the state of Israel and we love the Jewish people. So to be able to engage the Syrian crisis through the Israeli border in cooperation with the Israeli army is a huge privilege for us as an organization.
On this night, Dr. Sally Parsons and trauma nurse Debbie Dennison returned from a 7-week tour of duty in a Syrian village.
This was a long trip too.
Yeah. It was very good though, very good. Lots of trauma coming in, brought in another head injury.
Parsons and Dennison served in this makeshift hospital.
Why did you go in?
Because the Lord calls us into all the world, to all the nations. But I specifically felt God told me this was what I was supposed to be doing.
Parsons, a surgeon for 30 years, faced procedures she never did before. When the team didn't know what to do, they turned to prayer and even YouTube.
How many incisions? 3? How many compartments?
Well, it is in the, you got me. I think it's probably 2, but cutting the skin. Okay, so they're just going lateral.
And then we downloaded a YouTube for a cesarean section, and we did that, and I prayed a lot more than I read.
During her career, Parsons had never performed a C-section. In Syria, she did 6.
And I have to tell you, when I delivered that first little baby, I could just feel his hands on my hands. It's what sustained us, to be able to see new life in the midst of such horrific war was just a blessing beyond belief.
Dennison found a hidden beauty beneath the veil of the Syrian women.
In the women's exam room, they would take off that burqa and they would reveal their faces. And it was so miraculous to me because they were no longer hidden, but the beauty of these people would come out, these women, and it was no longer someone without a personality, but it was a woman with a life, and it was a woman with her children. We met them in their glory, we met them in their beauty, we met them in their pain. And it was an amazing experience for me.
Parsons and her team sent the worst cases back to Israel. Their mission is part of a larger project called Good Neighbor, where Israel provides food, fuel, water, and medical treatment across the border. So far, Israel has treated more than 5,000 Syrians in Israeli hospitals. Israeli Major Sergei serves as the Good Neighbor Chief Medical Officer.
Why do you do this?
From one side, this is a very simple question. I can see the other side of the border that's starvated in in his place and don't bring him the help. This is a huge situation that they live there, and this is my point. This is my opportunity to bring them help where they need this. I'm very proud to do this.
I don't know of another military in the world who would prioritize affectionate engagement with their enemy to build a good neighborhood. What the IDF has done over the last 5 or 6 years since the revolution started has said, hey, let's put politics to the side and let's seek to build a good neighborhood by being good neighbors.
I'm very proud to be in this point. I must tell thank you for the FIA organization about that they bring the high professional medical staff to help to the Syrian side. This is not as simple, and I am, especially as an Israel officer, I'm very proud to be in this situation.
Most of the wounded come here to Nahariya Hospital in Israel. We dressed up in gown and gloves to sit down with these Syrian men who received not only a physical healing, but a transformation of the heart.
We concealed their identity for their own protection.
Once I arrived in Israel, my point of view of the Israeli people changed completely. I was told that Israel is the bad guy, that Israel is the enemy. Now I know that it's just the opposite. I thank God I arrived in Israel in time, because if I had not come here, I wouldn't be alive.
The team changed this Syrian's view about Christians.
Before, I thought that Christians were bad people, but I found out that they are good people, and they helped me.
During the mission, they faced barrel bombs like this one and took shelter some 60 times. They even faced this Russian MiG.
I considered that I could lose my life there, but I considered that if he called me there, he was going to sustain me through that, and that everything was going to be fine.
You had to count the cost. You had to say, do I love you enough that I'm willing to lay down my life? Of course. And my answer was yes.
Thomas calls them heroes.
These are laid down, selfless, incredibly Christ-like people. The author of Hebrews said, these are of whom the world is not worthy. I think these people are of whom the world is not worthy.
Other teams are operating inside Syria now, and the joint project is growing. Thomas says Christians can help.
First of all, pray, make intercession. Jesus was clear, pray to the Lord of the harvest, send forth laborers. Secondly, come. If you're a medical professional, if you love the Lord, and if you can handle these circumstances, you can work in a team in an environment like this. We want you and we need you.
Some consider this a genuine Middle East peace plan. Jews helping Christians, helping Muslims.
People are people, no matter what label we put on them, Muslim or Christian or Jew. But underneath their label, they're men and they're women that have the same needs. They have the same pains and the same hurts that we do. And they need the same compassion and love. No matter what the barriers, all people respond to love. And we were, as Christians, going into a community, they didn't know us, they have a historic animosity towards Christian, but all it took was an expression of love, and we were welcomed with open arms.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Nahariya Hospital, Northern Israel.
The healing power of music coming up. We're going to show you the amazing results of music therapy. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, you have heard the old saying, music soothes the savage beast. Years ago, people believed in the healing power of music, and today's medical research shows they were onto something. As Lori Johnson reports now, music therapy is a growing part of many treatments.
James Rodriguez learns to talk again by singing favorite hymns from his time in the church choir.
All God's people said, Amen. Amen.
While a massive stroke tried to take James's speech, the music and medicine program at Virginia's Centera Healthcare helps him get it back.
Joy, my King.
We actually use more of our brain when we sing the same phrase versus when we speak it, because when we're singing, we have melody, rhythm, and emotion. That's how music can re-energize disabled parts of the mind.
we're able to activate more areas of the brain and reroute or create new neural networks so we can get around that damaged area caused by the stroke.
First, patients sing the words.
Hamburger steak. Hamburger steak.
Then transition to speaking them.
Hamburger. Good.
James's wife, Sandra, says since starting music therapy, her husband spontaneously speaks around the house.
At times, it just comes out, you know, and it would just stop us in our tracks when he'd gone several years and not spoken a word, and communication was almost non-existent.
People with other brain issues also enjoy the benefits of music therapy. Just see the difference it makes for 96-year-old Mike Knutson.
Mike, I'm gonna put your music on, okay?
Yeah.
University of Wisconsin researchers discovered improvements in quality of life indicators like mood and memory when dementia patients like Mike would regularly listen to music.
We've seen members who don't talk very much start to sing.
Mike's family noticed it too.
Music really does something to wake him up and help him to be more engaged with what's going on around him.
The key here is treating the patients to music they love. Since that often varies, each patient listens to their own unique playlist. Mike's daughter noticed such a change, she makes music a part of each visit with her dad.
We feel as though we have been blessed with this whole new experience with Dad. We are able to connect in a completely different way, in a very genuine way.
Listening to music we love triggers the chemical dopamine, which activates our brain's pleasure center.
What you take is what you give.
In addition to prescribing music for his cancer patients, San Diego oncologist Steve Eisenberg goes a step further by serenading them himself. And get this, he writes songs specific to each patient.
Yeah, you're a diamond jewel. You're so cool. You make me smile.
He spoke with my husband for a good hour on the phone, learning all sorts of things about me, my tastes in music, my interests, my hobbies, what's important to me, what my goals are in life. And he really, I felt, captured the essence of me in the song. And it was just beautiful, touching. I could just never thank him enough.
Dr. Eisenberg cites a growing number of studies proving music's value.
So it's just an unbelievable testament, if you will, to what's been happening with music and healing and cancer patients. And it's what we've always suspected, but now we're actually seeing scans and brain activity sort of that is corroborating what we've always sort of known.
I love you, Lord.
So whether you're trying to get well or just maintain good health, music can help by strengthening the mind, lowering blood pressure, and reducing pain and anxiety. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Make a joyful noise and see healing. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Film critics say Denzel Washington delivers a transformative performance in his next movie, and that is no accident. I had the opportunity to sit down with the two-time Academy Award winner who is playing the role of an activist attorney, and he shared the importance of using his platform to shine a light on his Christian faith. Does faith require activism for us to be active?
Well, you have to use your gifts. You know, faith without works is nothing. So not everybody has to be an activist.
Mm-hmm.
A woman prophesied years and years ago that I would travel the world and preach to millions of people. And I remember, you know, and I have traveled the world. I don't know if I'm a preacher, but through my work, I've spoken. And now I try to speak more in public. But I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit. So he didn't say stay in your lane, but you know, so try to be an agent for good. You know, that's what I'm all about now. I'm in the service business.
Denzel's new film is titled Roman J. Israel Esquire, and that name is a subtle nod to Scripture. We're going to bring you that story and a closer look at the film a little bit closer to its release in theaters this Thanksgiving. Well, it's time now for your Tuesday Tweetable. This is a message I hope will inspire you and then move you to post, tag, tweet, and share it with others. Know this: God has given you gifts and talents. He is now calling on you to give those back to Him in service to others, as you just heard Denzel Washington say. When you do that, He will bless those gifts and bless you to do even more. With that word, make this a terrific Tuesday and a wonderful rest of the week. That is a wrap for this edition of CBN Newswatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about, always at cbnnews.com. We'd love to hear what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.